Our deepest conversations stem from a vulnerable and truthful place, a place of vulnerability and truth. When we're really open with someone, or when we find, you know, something interesting to really talk about. It becomes deep when we know we can relate with that person and when everything clicks. But when nothing seems to work out, when our connection gets lost in the clouds, or when we're not on the same wavelength anymore, what do we do? What do we do when our connection with God gets lost? When we no longer have the capacity to really sit with Him and talk with Him? When we no longer find ourselves at the place that He wants us to be at, what do we do? How do we truly go about restoring that connection? When everything you've done, everything you've tried doesn't work out, you cry, you pray, even reading the Bible becomes boring to you. Even fasting works halfway through, and then the next few hours you're back to your old self. What do we do to restore that connection? Many have their own opinions, and many do their own therapy and coping strategies. But he really said to me, he said, "You sit still in my presence and you wait for me." And the typical human being I get fidgeted really easily when I don't feel like something is working out, because for the first few minutes of that moment, I am exhausted, tired of waiting, tired of laying on the floor in silence. But he says, you sit still and you listen. You listen for me. And that's what I've been learning. He says, you sit still and you listen for me. You sit still and wait for me. Because after everything you tried, you went on 7 days fasting, you read a whole book that supposedly should tell you how to really regain that connection with God, reading the Bible becomes weird to you because you don't really feel connected to Him. And He is the living Word. After all you've done, you sit still and you listen for Him. And I'm just sharing that with us today. When you feel unworthy and when you feel like you've lost that connection with Him, you sit quietly and you wait for Him. You listen for Him. Because He is going to talk. He is going to talk. And it may not be how you want it to be at first. You may want the first tryout to be successful. But all of this is a lesson, a training ground for you, for me, for all of us. When you've lost your connection with God and nothing works that you've been trying, sit still in His presence and listen for him, because that's when he starts speaking, and that's when he'll restore what you thought you lost. I hope this encourages someone today. Be still and know that he is God.